Inflammation versus Misformation were recorded from classes given this year by Dr. Malachi Z. York, known to us as the Supreme Grand Master Naya Malachi Zoduk El, our own Pharaoh, Amanubi Ru'akatar. And now, listen with an open mind and heart as our Grand Master explains you with only the truth. Allow your inner light to flow again and stomp out misinformation with only the facts. And now, listen to the Supreme Grand Master Naya Malachi Zoduk El.
My question is, Enki was sent here to be ruler over the earth, and Anu sent Enlil ruler over the skies to correct everything. My question is, did Enki send you redeeming himself by sending his son Murdoch, showing that he can do things as said to be done, or did Anu send you, my master teacher?
Anu sends Enki, and Anu sends me. Enki couldn't send me anywhere. Because though I am spiritually related to Enki as his son, I reject everything Enki stands for because he opposed Anu. And it was a strong decision because I was conceived through a reptilian wife of Enki as a disagreeable, a warrior, a defender. And I had to change, my whole genetic structure recalibrated so that I could work on behalf of Anu, but act as a defender of the innocent at the same time. So I had to be given the ability to kill when killing is not in the Anunnaki's nature. Thus it was necessary to be born to Id, who was a reptilian, that I'd have a reptilian mentality as well as an Anunnaki's mentality as far as agreeable, Yah, and disagreeable, Way. I had to have both of those attributes because this is what you have. You have both an agreeable nature and a disagreeable nature sitting in this room. And I don't mean there are some agreeable people and some disagreeable people. Everybody sitting in this room has agreeable in them and disagreeable. Everybody in there has a little devil in them, and everybody in there has a little God in them. In order for the being to come to you, to raise you up, they've got to have the kind of nature you have so that you can't trick them, because you're very good at it. Not this time. Anything else? The brother from Washington came down a long way, and people from Washington, I assume, are in the house. You can see y'all down here. He did a very good job. He's a good teacher. I know y'all learned a lot. It makes me feel good to see young brothers coming up, because nothing is sadder than seeing a purpose destroyed, because maybe the leadership harbors and controls all the information for themselves in order to look heavy. And then when they pass on, there's no one to pick up that baton and keep running. It's good to see that these young men are coming up, and I'm hoping to see some young sisters get up there. Not necessarily, young doesn't mean nothing to me though. You know how I was, young has nothing to do with age. It means in stages of learning. I want to see some of these young sisters get up and also teach and carry this word out, because I know you know what time we're in. I know you can see the world and conditions of the world. Needless to say, the clock is ticking louder than it ever ticked before. And time is running out. And I'm not going to preach doomsday. I'm not going to tell you that the end of the world is coming. End of a kind of world is coming. End of a kind of rulership is coming. And it's high time for it to go. So that the new world, and not new world order, but the new world can come into place where love rules and not emotion. All right? What else you want to talk to me about? Go ahead.
Me and some brothers was building on the idea of why is it we have to get back to a state of Wapu, and we were looking at it as a neutral state, okay? And I was thinking on that.
I'm sorry. You look at it as a neutral state.
Yeah, we looked at it as
okay.
a neutral state. We stayed in the WAPO as a neutral state. And
whatever that means.
I didn't hear you.
I don't know what that means, but I'll go with you with time. I don't know what it means. Go ahead.
Okay, but I was looking at that and I was thinking, well, maybe while we're here dealing with this society, we have to focus more on our positive nature and suppress the disagreeable side of us, so that we could kind of like balance things out. Because I remember when you were saying that our planet has been surrounded by a almost disagreeable crystal-like energy thing, and I was thinking that if we were to focus more on our positive nature, suppress the disagreeable, would balance things out and allow us to be able to cope with the things that's going on in this society now. But later on, once we establish our state of WAPO, we would then be able to get back to that neutral state and then exercise both our agreeable and disagreeable using sound right reasoning. So if that's what's going, is that what's going on? Is that why we have to focus more on our positive nature?
That probably was a little heavier than what I would say. To me, sound right reasoning is already in each of us. What has happened is all our reasoning, our sound judgments, and most important, right decisions has been overlaid by theatrics. In other words, they took out reason and replaced it with belief. And in belief, if you try to reason out what you believe, you're usually called a blasphemer or a troublemaker. If you belong to a religious denomination, let's say Christianity, for instance, for starters, and you're a devout Christian, and someone attempts to assassinate the Pope, you follow? You say that's a very sad thing. That's a very sick thing to do. That's how you see it. And that is a way to see it. But in the WAPO, the next way to see it is, why is the Pope ducking? You follow? Why would the Pope attempt not to die if the greatest of all glories is to be back in the bosom of God? And if you are the Pope, you're about as close to the bosom of God as most or any man could possibly be. You have to ask, what the WAPO does is it raises that kind of question through reasoning that bothers people. Because it says, why is the Pope driving around in a bulletproof vehicle if him and God is tight? Why is he trying to tell me to be good in order to go to heaven to be with God, and he don't want to go to heaven? Billy Graham passed out giving a lecture, and he's on his fourth collapse. His fourth collapse. And he is fighting to live. He is trying to live. He's got all kind of tubes in him, and breathing machines, and heart pumping machines, and he wants to live. I would assume, get with me, I would assume that Billy Graham would want to die if Billy Graham believes in heaven. If he believes that when you die, you go to God and you go to heaven, why is he trying so hard to stay here? And the first thing that happens to most of the people in this room, once they become frustrated, is, I don't want to live. If they're religious, they I want to go to God. Why is the Pope and Billy Graham and a multiple amount of other religious leaders, including my beloved brother, Minister Louis Farrakhan, standing around with a bunch of bodyguards, standing around, like, why doesn't he want to die if he believes in heaven? I don't believe in heaven. So I know some niggas can stand up with a gun right now and pull the trigger. So I got to learn to duck, because I don't believe. I don't believe in that stupid. And I'm not going to teach you to be so God-fearing that you don't have enough sense to duck when that nigga stand up with that gun. But the men that say that they believe that there's some heavenly abode that we all go to, and that God is there waiting to embrace us, and his son meets us on the way through the light, why are they trying not to get there? This is what Nuwapo is. So it's not about Nuwapo being neutral. Nuwapo is that dormant presence of divine in each individual that makes you question everything you are about to do, be it good or evil. When you're about to do something and it's wrong, and you know it's wrong, something says to you, now you know this is wrong. And then something else says, but it's fun. Everybody that gets ready to bungee jump, everybody. While they're tying this thing on the ankle, and as they get near the edge, they say, you know, I'm telling you now, this is real stupid. And as they look over the edge, they backtrack the rubber all the way back to their ankle, and something says, I'm giving you one more chance to think this out. Now this is stupid. And then they jump. And after they defeated that divine awareness in them, jumping becomes fun. It becomes a recreation. It becomes a ritual. Then they want to try something else, Gary. Once you coat over or blot out that Nuwapo in you, and this is done through concentrated effort, it's done through words, it's done through gestures, it's done through the media. When I was talking to some people yesterday, and I was saying, I want you to all to think about this for a minute. Everybody complains about people talking about them behind their backs. You know what I mean? Someone, let me talking about me behind my back. I don't want nobody to talk to me any other place but behind my back. Because behind my back is my face. Behind my face would be the problem. So if someone said, I'm going to talk about you behind your face, then they're back there. But if they're talking about you behind your back, then they're standing in front of you. But whoever has taught us to accept this ass-backwards thinking has succeeded in tricking us to think the way they want us to think. And they tricked us into fighting Biggie Smalls against Tupac and had them really thinking they were gangsters. I mean, they really think they're gangsters. They make the faces. They make the videos with the hats and the guns, and they walk in the clubs like the Godfather, and then they shoot each other. And I think this Bible says, as a man thinketh, so shall it be. These people think themselves into their own destruction. But what type of tricks are used to make us susceptible to that type of thinking is what's frightening. How easily is it done? I remember talking to y'all months ago when kids were still wearing baggy clothes, and I said pretty soon they're going to be fitting clothes. Yeah. They're going to tighten the clothes up. Sneakers has got to go. Lugs are in. After lugs comes in wingtips. Pretty soon the women are wearing tight clothes and wigs and nails and lips and everything because it's money involved. It ain't about nothing else but money. Now how is it that they can have 90% of the people on television you see today wear velvet? Because somebody decides it's time to bring in velvet. And now people are wearing velvet. And they decide next month it's time to bring in satin. People will be wearing satin. That's because you have given up that Nuwapo in you. You listen, you open your eyes and you digest things, and what you digest is able to change the way you feel and think. It actually goes against your better or best judgment. You see what I'm saying? And that way they can say stuff like, you can't make up a word like overstanding because it's not in the dictionary. And I say, well, there's no diction in the dictionary either. There's definitions. And I can, if you got an understanding, an overstatement, I can have overstanding and an understanding. Is it bothering you because you knew one day I would figure out that this Bible and the Quran, they give us a great understanding. They have a lot of knowledge in it, a lot of wisdom in it, and a great understanding. But the only being or beings that was here before it, that would overstand it, you follow that? Or overview it, or write it, would have to be God. Mortals would be given it to understand it, to stay beneath it. But God was there when it was happening. And that's why it's called mystery. And mystery prefix my story. That's why they don't want to ever call it a history book. And you can tell them, well, because Abraham was a Chaldean, and Chaldean is a geographical place on the planet, and he's back in time, then this, if I read the story of Abraham, I am reading the history of a man. So this is a history book. I said, no, this is the holy book. I said, well, okay, then it's a holy history book. It's a history book. Now, what does the history have to do with what I'm doing today? Nothing. So why are so many people caught up in this history book? Because it gives you the key to controlling the emotions of people. It gives you a word that I gravely dislike, believe. And why I hate the word believe so much is because when people get to talking about you in front of your back, the first thing they do, in most cases, is say, you know what I think? I have an opinion here. That's what they say. I think, well, Jesus is supposed to come back and get us. You say, you believe that? That's what I believe. Well, I choose not to believe it. Then they say, well, you're a blasphemer. I choose not to accept the title of blasphemy. You're a cult. I choose not to accept the word cult. You're crazy. I choose not to accept the word crazy. See, the moment I can instill in you a belief, an unconfirmed fact, then I can point at the whole Chinese nation, label them, and call them the devil. And because you want to believe it, you will. You won't investigate. Because I think when I said, excuse me, are there black devils? Eyebrows raised up this far. No, he ain't. No, bruh, Esau is not gonna go there. And I said, yes, I am. Because that's Nuwapo. That's reality. When you go there and say, are you going to tell me that all black people are good and all white people, Chinese people are bad? You're going to tell me that you have never met a black devil? You? Can anybody in here tell me that you've never met a black devil? Someone who's black, Bongo Bibba, and say that he doesn't have the devil in him or her? Come on with it if you can. So do you know what that would make us? And we persist in that doctrine? What? Hypocrites. But religion teaches people to be hypocrites. Because it teaches you to love your neighbor if they belong to your same faith. Now, it doesn't add the last chapter. It basically says, love thy neighbor as I love thyself. That means, being I'm a Christian, anybody who's not like myself, I don't have to love. It's a little tricky, but as we listen, those things trick our minds, and then it feels all right for me to say, well, if I am a Muslim and you are a Christian, it's all right for me to blow up the World Trade Center. Because I believe that you are a bad person. Because you do not believe what I believe. You see what has ruled us? But when Anu and the rest of your guardian, what you might call angelic beings, angelos, start to approach, you had to be reprogrammed as a being. You had to be prepared for beings that when they talk to you, they talk straight at you. They don't talk in belief. They don't talk in approximates. They don't talk in parables. That's why I look at the Quran, it starts in chapter 2, it says, and Allah has a parable for you. And you go, they use the word mathala, the likeness is the word they really use. And you say to yourself, the almighty, powerful, boundless God of all the universe has to speak in parables? Can't he just say, don't do that? Does he have to do something like, the doing of that, in accordance with the results of the doing of that, could result in a very tragic, just say, nigga, don't do that. It would be a heck of a lot simpler for me. The Quran would be less pages, more people would read it, and things would get on. But when you open this book here, to the book of St. John's, let me see what it says here. It's a nice little book. It's still a nice book. It says here, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things was made by him, and without him there was not anything made that was made. In him was the life, and the life was the light of man. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not. Why is it necessary to do all of that? Let me see what he was trying to say. There was a beginning, and there was a word spoken in that beginning, and that was God. And the word that was spoken was life. And the life made life. That's why it is man. Simple. Why does God study Shakespeare? Why does he have to emulate Shakespeare? Why is it that God does not want every individual to pick up this book and get a clear understanding of it? Why must we have people to come along and give us tafsir of the Quran, interpretations of things? Why isn't the Quran so clear that everybody that picks it up would understand it? The Quran tells you it has no intentions of being clear. It starts off Alif, Lam, Mim. 3 letters. Then it goes ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. Sounds nice. Most of y'all going, what is he saying? Let me tell you that most Arabic-speaking Muslims are also saying, what is it saying? And they say it in Salat, and they're still saying, because I did it for 50 years, not 50, 40, before they click the light on. Said, what is it saying? So you go back and say, brother, what does Alif, Lam, Mim mean? Those are 3 letters, A, L, and M. They're the initial letters of the Surah Al-Baqarah of the Quran. What do they mean? They'll say, nobody knows. Any ex-Muslims in it? Don't be ashamed to hide. No, you know you are here. All I had to do is yell out Assalamu alaikum when I came in. Y'all said, what is it? When it came out of you, you wasn't in it. You know it. They don't know what it means. Yet, the Muslim world will hold up the Quran and say, this is undisputed guidance. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. This, al-kitabu, book, la, no, rayba, doubt, fee, in it. They literally open it with there's no doubt in it. And then when you ask them, what does those three letters mean, they say, I don't know. And somewhere along the line, they have not made the equation with I don't know and I wish I did know with doubt. What does that mean? It means that the initial writer knew that anybody who started after that and called it unquestionable or undoubted was a believer. Thus they call themselves mu'minun or mu'minat and mu'min. We are believers. The word mu'min doesn't even mean believe. Come on, amanah meaning faith. And faith is damn near as bad as belief. But you still ask me to subscribe to something that's not been confirmed. You see that? But as we approach the time, or what they refer to as the information age, we are being informed by our beings or ancestors, or as I often would say, descendants, because they descended. They are triggering you now. They are opening you up where you have the ability to be prepared for their presence. Because in the state of mind that most Christians and Muslims are in, if Jesus came out the sky, they wouldn't know what the heck to do. They're waiting, they're saying, the reverend is saying, I'm telling y'all that Jesus is coming now, soon now. But if Jesus walked into their church, and it was the Ethiopian Baptist church, and Jesus had blonde hair and blue eyes, which is the kind of games that God likes to play, or walked in a white church and had a big old afro, which is the kind of games God likes to play. Whether you like it or not, we got away with games. We can go into God's games if you want to. What would happen if he walked into the church of the Black Madonna right now in Atlanta, and he had blonde hair and blue eyes and said, I am Jesus? They would throw him out the church. If he walked into a KKK church, oh yeah. Yeah, you know it's true. And had a big old hoop-hoopy-doo afro, big old Michael Jackson afro about this and said, I am Jesus, they would throw him out the church. Well, I think it's a little biased to say that they would crucify him in the KKK church, but they wouldn't crucify him in the Black Muslim church, because the Black Muslim church is equivalent to the KKK church. The same ignorance prevails. Whether you want to accept Farrakhan as the Grand Wizard or not is your business, but anybody with intelligence see that he is just as dangerous as the Grand Wizard in a philosophy that teaches people to hate each other. When nature does not segregate in what I call God's games. The people right now in Canada that are buried under ice and living in shelters by the thousands are not really concerned with their religious doctrine or dogma right now. Most of them are concerned about heat and a sandwich. Some warm clothes and a place to sleep and a sandwich to eat. You follow? And they would share that sandwich with a white person, an all black person, anybody would share, because nature, Reverend, nature is bringing the reality to us. Because nature doesn't segregate. Humankind is way past their limits on the planet. You are supposed to have been gone ever since you started taking needles or vaccines to survive. When you have to immune your body against nature, when a child gets all these vaccines, nature is basically saying, I want y'all out of here. I want y'all off my planet, out my house, because y'all are menace to each other, every animal, every tree. I want y'all out. So now when a baby's born, the doctors tell them, you must get at least 16 shots, I think we talked about before you're 16 years old, or you have any of a number of diseases that would kill you. Who is providing these diseases? God. There'd be no diseases if God didn't want diseases. Are you hearing me?